one decision, one moment of silence, and suddenly everything feels heavier than before. Episode 7 of Outlander Season 6 doesn't shock you with loud action. Instead, it pulls you in slowly, pressing on emotions that have been building all season. This is the episode where the weight becomes impossible to ignore, and even the cast felt it while bringing it to life. By the time Season 6 reaches Episode 7, the world of Outlander is already strained. Fraser's Ridge no longer feels like a safe home. Trust is cracking, fear is spreading, and every character is carrying something they cannot say out loud. Episode 7 arrives at the exact moment when silence becomes dangerous. The cast has often described this episode as a turning point, not because of one single event, but because of how pressure finally begins to show on everyone. From the cast's point of view, this episode is where emotions stop hiding. Earlier episodes allowed characters to pretend they were still in control. Episode 7 removes that comfort. The actors leaned into exhaustion, doubt, and quiet fear. Nothing feels rushed here. Every pause, every look, and every breath is meant to feel real. The cast understood that this episode needed restraint more than drama, because real pain often appears quietly. Season 6 deals deeply with the idea of community under stress. Episode 7 highlights what happens when that community begins to question itself. According to cast reflections, filming these moments required a shift in performance. Instead of big emotional speeches, they focused on stillness. The tension lives between words, not inside them. This made the episode harder to film, but also more powerful to watch. For the actors, Episode 7 was about showing consequences. Choices made earlier in the season now carry weight. Nothing can be undone. The cast has shared that they approached this episode with care, knowing that viewers would feel the emotional cost even without being told directly. Every character stands at a crossroads, even if they don't yet realize it. What makes Episode 7 stand out in Season 6 is its emotional honesty. It doesn't try to comfort the audience. It asks them to sit with discomfort just as the characters must. From the cast's perspective, this episode represents the moment when survival is no longer just physical. It becomes emotional, moral, and deeply personal. And once this episode ends, the story can never return to what it was before. There is a moment in Episode 7 where nothing is said, yet everything is understood. That silence wasn't easy to create. For the cast, this episode demanded more emotional control than any loud confrontation ever could. Instead of reacting, they had to hold back, and that restraint became the hardest part of the performance. From the cast's perspective, Episode 7 was emotionally draining because it asked them to live inside discomfort for long periods of time. The story doesn't offer quick relief. Scenes stretch on, forcing characters to sit with fear, guilt, and uncertainty. The actors have spoken about how this required them to stay emotionally present even when the script gave them very few lines. Every look mattered. Every pause had meaning, and like episodes filled with action, this one relied on emotional honesty. The cast approached their roles by focusing on what their characters were not saying. Many of them described feeling the weight of their characters' responsibilities more than ever before. Leaders begin to doubt themselves. Protectors realize they cannot protect everyone, and healers are pushed to their limits. These emotions were not acted loudly, they were carried quietly, which made them feel more real. Filming Episode 7 also meant trusting each other deeply. The cast leaned on strong chemistry built over previous seasons. Emotional scenes were filmed with care and respect, allowing space for reactions to feel natural. Several actors have shared that this episode stayed with them even after filming wrapped for the day. The mood was heavy, but purposeful. Everyone understood that this story needed to be told honestly without softening the truth. What made this episode especially challenging was its realism. There are no clear villains and no easy answers. The cast had to accept that their characters could be misunderstood, judged, or even disliked by viewers, and they embraced that risk. For them, Episode 7 was about showing what pressure really does to people over time. In the end, the cast didn't try to make the audience feel comfortable. They wanted viewers but the characters felt uncertain, tense, and emotionally worn down. That shared emotional weight is what gives episode 7 its power, and why it remains one of the most quietly intense moments of season 6. Episode 7 is not about what happens on the surface. It is about what breaks quietly inside the characters. From the cast's point of view, this episode forced every character to face something they had been avoiding for a long time. There is no escape through action, no distraction through danger. The threat is emotional, and it sits close to the heart. For the actors, the challenge was to show pressure without release. Their characters are surrounded by people, yet feel deeply alone. Jamie, for example, is still seen as a strong leader, but the cast approached him as a man carrying impossible weight. He must make choices that will affect everyone, even when there is no right answer. The actor focused less on strength and more on hesitation, those brief moments where Jamie pauses, knowing that whatever he decides will cost something. That pause is where the truth of the character lives. Claire's journey in episode 7 is even heavier. The cast has described her emotional state as stretched thin. She is someone who heals others, yet cannot heal herself. In this episode, Claire is not defined by action, but by endurance. The actor played her pain quietly, allowing it to show through tired eyes, slower movement, and moments of stillness. The goal was not to show suffering in a dramatic way, but to make it feel constant and exhausting. That realism is what makes her struggle so powerful. Brianna and Roger also face emotional consequences that can no longer be ignored. For the cast, these characters represent the cost of choice. Their lives are shaped by decisions made with hope, but now those decisions carry fear and doubt. The actors focused on uncertainty, questioning whether they truly belong, whether they can protect their family, and whether the future they imagine is still possible. Their scenes are quieter, but filled with tension that feels personal and real. Supporting characters play a crucial role in this episode as well. From the cast's perspective, episode 7 allowed these characters to step out of the background and show how deeply the situation affects everyone. Fear spreads differently for each person. Some react with anger, others with silence, and some with blind loyalty. The actors treated these reactions with care, knowing that even small roles help shape the emotional world of the story. What makes episode 7 unique is that no character feels fully in control. The cast leaned into vulnerability, even when it made their characters uncomfortable to watch. There is a sense that everyone is being tested, not by one event, but by time itself. Pressure builds slowly, and the episode refuses to release it. This required trust in the writing and in each other, because the impact comes from honesty, not performance. The cast has often described this episode as one where they had to listen more than speak. Reactions mattered more than dialogue. A look held for 1 second too long. A breath taken before answering. A moment where someone chooses silence instead of truth. These details were carefully crafted to show inner conflict without explanation. The audience is not told what to feel, they are invited to feel it. By the end of episode 7, the characters are changed, even if nothing explosive has happened. The cast understood that this kind of change is harder to portray, but more meaningful. It reflects real life, where people are shaped not only by trauma, but by the slow, quiet pressure of responsibility, fear, and love. This is why episode 7 resonates so deeply. It doesn't shout its message. It lets it settle, heavy and unforgettable. Episode 7 may feel calm on the surface, but behind the scenes, it was one of the most demanding episodes for the cast. What makes this episode unique is not what you see, but how carefully it was created. Every scene was built with intention, patience, and emotional awareness. The cast knew that even the smallest mistake could break the tension, so nothing was rushed. During filming, the atmosphere on set was noticeably different. The cast has shared that there was less casual conversation and more focus than usual. Not because anyone was nervous, but because the story required emotional respect. This episode deals with pain that does not explode, it lingers. To protect that feeling, the cast stayed in character longer, even between takes. This helped them carry carry the emotional weight naturally into each scene. One of the biggest challenges was pacing. Episode 7 depends heavily on timing how long the character waits before speaking, how slowly they move, how long the camera stays still. The cast worked closely with the director to find the right rhythm. If a scene moved too fast, the emotion felt fake. If it moved too slowly, the tension faded. Finding that balance took multiple takes, but the cast understood why it mattered. Another important part of filming was emotional safety. Some scenes were difficult to perform because they touched on fear, guilt, and loss. The cast supported each other by creating a sense of trust on set. Before heavy scenes, actors would quietly check in with one another. After filming, they allowed space to reset emotionally. The lack of dramatic action also placed more responsibility on the actors. There were no battles or loud moments to hide behind. If a scene worked, it was because the performance was truthful. The cast focused deeply on body language, how a character sits, where their eyes go, how they react when someone else speaks. These details were discussed and refined throughout filming, often changing slightly from take to take. Lighting and camera work also played a major role, and the cast adjusted their performances to match it. Shadows were used to reflect emotional distance. Close shots captured small reactions that would normally go unnoticed. Knowing this, the actors softened their performances instead of pushing them. Less expression often carried more meaning. The cast trusted that the camera would catch what words did not say. What truly sets episode 7 apart is how much trust existed between the cast and the story. They did not try to make scenes more dramatic than necessary. They allowed discomfort to exist. They allowed silence to stretch. And they allowed characters to appear uncertain, tired, and emotionally worn down. That honesty is what makes the episode feel real. By the end of filming, many cast members felt that episode 7 represented the heart of season 6. Not because it was the biggest episode, but because it was the most human. Behind the scenes, this episode was built slowly, carefully, and with deep respect for the characters and the audience. That quiet effort is exactly why the episode leaves such a lasting impression long after the screen fades to black. Episode 7 speaks softly, but its message is heavy. Beneath every scene, there is a deep sense of testing of faith, of trust, and of personal limits. From the cast's point of view, this episode is not just about events, but about ideas that slowly press down on the characters until they can no longer ignore them. One of the strongest themes in this episode is justice versus mercy. Characters are forced to ask themselves what is right, not in theory, but in real life. The cast approached this theme with care, knowing that there are no clean answers. Some characters believe rules must be followed to protect order, while others believe compassion matters more than punishment. Episode 7 does not tell the audience who is correct. Instead, it shows the cost of both choices. This uncertainty is what makes the episode feel real and unsettling. Another powerful theme is fear spreading through a community. Fear in this episode is quiet, but contagious. The cast has described how they played fear not as panic, but as distance. Characters stop sharing thoughts. They watch each other more closely. Trust becomes fragile. Even familiar places feel unsafe. The actors focused on subtle changes, shorter conversations, guarded looks, and emotional withdrawal to show how fear slowly changes behavior. Faith and doubt also sit at the center of this episode. Several characters are deeply connected to belief, whether spiritual or personal. Episode 7 challenges those beliefs. The cast portrayed doubt not as weakness, but as something human. Faith is no longer comforting, it is questioned. Characters wonder if the values they live by can still protect them. This inner struggle plays out quietly, often in moments when characters are alone with their thoughts. The theme of endurance runs through every scene. This episode is not about winning or losing, but about lasting. The cast approached their performances with the idea that survival is not always brave or inspiring. Sometimes it is simply continuing to stand when you are tired. Characters do not find relief here. They find the strength to keep going, even without hope of quick resolution. Finally, episode idea that silence can be dangerous. What is not said becomes just as important as what is spoken. Secrets, avoided truths, and unspoken fears create tension that words could release but no one dares to speak. The cast leaned into this theme by letting silence stretch. These quiet moments are uncomfortable by design, forcing the audience to feel the weight of what is being held back. In the end, episode 7 is less about moving the plot forward and more about deepening meaning. The themes do not offer comfort or closure. They ask the audience to sit with uncertainty, just as the characters must. That is why this episode stays with viewers long after it ends. It doesn't resolve its questions. It leaves them echoing. Asterisk episode 7 didn't try to please everyone and the cast knew it wouldn't. When this episode aired, reactions were strong, emotional, and sometimes divided. Some viewers called it slow. Others called it one of the most powerful episodes of the season. From the cast's point of view, this response was expected and even welcome because episode 7 was never designed to be easy. Many viewers felt uneasy while watching, and that discomfort was intentional. The cast has shared that the goal was not to entertain in the usual sense, but to make the audience feel the pressure the characters were under. There are no quick rewards in this episode, no clear heroes, no satisfying reliefs. For some viewers, that made the episode frustrating. For others, it made it unforgettable. A large part of the audience reaction came from how real the episode felt. Fans noticed the silence, the pauses, and the emotional distance between characters. These moments led to deep discussion online, with viewers debating motivations, moral choices, and unspoken fears. The cast paid close attention to these conversations, not to defend the episode, but to understand how strongly it connected. Even disagreement meant the story had landed. Some fans struggled with the lack of action, but the cast viewed that as proof the episode was doing its job. Episode 7 asks viewers to slow down, just as the characters are forced to. It removes the comfort of movement and replaces it with waiting. That waiting creates tension that feels personal. The cast has said that this episode mirrors real life, where stress often builds quietly instead of exploding. Another reason the episode sparked conversation was character behavior. Viewers questioned decisions, doubted intentions, and even felt disappointed in characters they once trusted. The cast embraced this reaction. They believed it meant the characters were being seen as human, not idealized. Episode 7 allows flaws to surface without apology. That honesty can be uncomfortable, but it deepens the connection between the audience and the story. For many longtime fans, episode 7 became a moment of reflection. Instead of asking, "What happens next?" viewers asked, "What would I do?" That shift is rare, and the cast recognized it as a success. The episode invites the audience to sit with moral uncertainty, just as the characters do. There is no guide telling viewers how to feel. Asterisk episode 7 does not end with answers. It ends with a feeling, and that is its true power. From the cast's perspective, this episode is the emotional line that season 6 crosses and can never step back from. After this point, the characters are no longer reacting to problems. They are living with the results of everything that came before. What makes episode 7 so important is how it reshapes what comes next. The cast has shared that later episodes carry the emotional weight built here. Even when the story moves forward, this episode stays with the characters. Their choices feel heavier, their trust feels more fragile, and their sense of safety is forever changed. Episode 7 doesn't push the plot with speed, it deepens it with meaning. For the actors, this episode marked a shift in performance. After filming episode 7, the way they played their characters subtly changed. Confidence became guarded, hope became careful, love became more protective. The cast understood that once characters experience this level of pressure, they cannot return to who they were before. That quiet transformation is what gives the rest of the season its emotional depth. This episode also changes how the audience watches what follows. Viewers become more alert, more sensitive to small moments. A look, a pause, or a simple choice now feels loaded with history. The cast believed this was essential. 7 teaches the audience how to watch the rest of season 6 not for spectacle, but for consequence. In many ways, episode 7 represents the heart of the season. Not the most dramatic chapter, but the most honest one. It asks the audience to sit with discomfort, to accept uncertainty, and to understand that survival often comes with emotional cost. The cast did not want this episode to be forgotten. They wanted it to settle in slowly, like a weight you only notice once it's already there.